Actors are liars? Well, I have heard it said before that actors are liars. And I understand where that sentiment is coming from with all the well earned disdain for what happens in Hollywood. But I would like to put that sentiment in context. For example, are painters liars? Like if someone paints a scene, such as a landscape or a portrait, does that make them liars too? The same question applies to both realistic and abstract depictions of people and things. And wouldn't the same rule apply to sculpture? What about the literary works of fiction, such as War and Peace or The Telltale Heart, etc.? Does that make creative writers liars as well? And since we are on the subject of writing, what about poetry? Wouldn't this sentiment make poets liars as well? But there is poetry in the Bible, so this doesn't really make sense if you think about it. What all these examples have in common is using art and creative license as commentary on the human condition. It's a form of communication that can provide a very profound perspective on the experience of living in this carnal existence. And what about figures of speech, such as, it's raining cats and dogs? We have all used figures of speech at one time or another, since in this example it was obviously not raining cats and dogs. Wouldn't that make liars of all of us? And if you think about it, aren't we all actors to some degree? And who among us hasn't worn the proverbial mask at least at one time or another? So I agree that Hollywood is evil, but that doesn't mean that everyone who acts is a liar. But indeed, all the world is a stage, and the role we play in this one is the final scene in Act 3 before they close the curtains and take down the house. And isn't this world a bit like an elaborate Hollywood set, where everything we call quote unquote real is merely a thin facade propped up on stilts on a film set, where the real truth will be revealed once the veil is finally lifted by the great producer of this carnal production? Just something to think about.